Welcome to Rating the Kingdom, episode 125, Cash That Check. That was our sweet intro. If you've seen us on YouTube, that's the opening. Andy Reid got cut off a little bit. I don't know what happened, Coach, but how are you this evening?
Good. Well, to me, the thing I heard most was, how about them Chiefs? I didn't hear anything about the Raiders. So.
No, you heard the Raiders. It's good.
I didn't hear them. It's all good.
All right. Well, the episode is Cash That Check because the Raiders check bounced or it was fraudulent or someone whitewashed it, just didn't work out. The Chiefs, on the other hand, they cashed that big money with old Trav Kelce back in the mix. You guys took on the Jags. We'll go into that in a little bit.
And the Mahomes got a new contract, so that was part of my idea for the episode name was Patrick Mahomes cashed in and got what he deserved.
He did, and I was kind of wondering how that was going to go because the guy could say okay, I'm going to take team deals and go with the flow, but also I'm better than all these guys, and especially Joe Burrow's the highest paid, and he's just playing like trash right now.
So what I've gotten out of the deal, and I was figuring we go into this a little bit later, but we might as well knock it out now, is they've just essentially moved money up, so it's not like it's a bunch of new money. They're just kind of pulling money from the back end of the contract up. Because I tried to do as much research as I could to try and figure out what the, how this deal worked, if it voided, because, we signed a 10-year deal, that if it's going to void a bunch of years. So it doesn't void any years. It just, come 26, 27, they'll revisit the contract then. I have really no doubts that, Patty will be a lifelong Chief. The man has to be paid. I mean, at the time of the Burrow deal, he was the 8th highest paid quarterback in the league, and for being to 3 Super Bowls, winning 2 MVPs, that's unacceptable. You can be he's a team guy, and the cap's a myth, so he'll redo the deal a million times over to help the team out. And as far as the title being the highest paid quarterback, highest paid player, he 1000% deserves that. I don't think that's a debate that anyone would really counter. So good for him. He gets paid. I don't think it's going to mess with his motivation anymore. He's just that much more motivated to prove that he's worth it. So it'll be good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I wish this could be something that I would celebrate, like you celebrate the Bears grabbed Chase Claypool. You kind of knew that wasn't going to really work out. So you're like, yeah, go ahead and take Chase Claypool. And we know how that goes. Or the Patriots grabbing Juju. Yeah, whatever. How's that going to go? But I was upset to see that Chris Jones rejoined you guys. And then now I'm upset that Mahomes is just going to be that much happier. I never had any doubt he would want to leave KC anyways, but he's haunting me for forever and just have more money.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't ever think that he was upset on the contract situation. No. To me, I don't think that's something Mahomes, because with the amount of endorsements and stuff like that, and with the amount of money he was getting paid before, it's not like he's hurting for all, but I think it's just the title that means a lot. So, yeah,
agreed. While we're on the subject of Mahomes, let's just go with the positive for you, the bad for me. The Chiefs won. Jacksonville Jaguars. It was in Jacksonville.
It was in Jacksonville. It was $120. 120 degrees on the field. So it was it's a hot, humid day in Jacksonville. And the Chiefs got the win. Got the win. We're seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter, and it's a valid thing, right? Their points per game have gone down. You kind of see what the Redskins are doing, and with what Eric Bieniemy is doing in Washington, which is great to see. Bieniemy is someone that I think will forever be loved in KC. He really helped bring them back to a place that they've been to since the Trent Green, Priest Holmes era. And they've far exceeded that. So it's great to see him doing great in Washington. I think it's does it have something to do with him being gone? Let's not forget Travis Kelce wasn't there week 1. I think some of the weapons that they have in Washington are better quality receivers and stuff than we have in KC. Not an excuse, but in the level of competition, I think between the Lions and the Jaguars, both a playoff team last year and a presumptuous playoff team this year, it's not terrible. I'm not necessarily really worried about that yet. But like we've talked about here hundreds of times. I mean, we're what episode are we on right now? We're on episode 125.
125.
And, I've been part of, I don't know how many episodes now, but I could pretty
Probably
much
like 60, something like that.
60, right? So I could say in these 60 episodes, and I know the episodes before, a win's a win. No matter if you win by, 39 points. I don't know if you're picking up on that. 39 points, 2021. If you win by 39 points against a team, or you win by 6 points, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's a little dig at you Raiders fans. After this week,
it pains me to wear this stuff.
Bring the heat. Bring me in the comments. But a win's a win, and Jacksonville's a quality team. I would have liked to see a little bit more. Mahomes gets 2 touchdowns. Throws a bad pick, double coverage. That wasn't even Tony's fault this time. Patty will do that stuff because he is so confident in his abilities that sometimes I don't want to say
we call it hero ball. He does it.
It's hero ball. It's hero ball, and I think he wanted to get have Tony have a big catch and kind of get his confidence back. He obviously didn't have any kind of game like he had week 1. Sky Moore stepped up. Travie got a touchdown, and they can just continue their a legendary connection between each other. So it's good to have him back. Good to have Chris Jones back. He was disrupting the line. You can just see how much of a difference he makes. And really got to give a shout out to the defense. Spagnola kind of has gotten a lot of heat since his time in KC. I was, back in the day when he was a Rams coach here in St. Louis. He was terrible. I think he's a good D coordinator. It just takes some time to get guys and develop them. And the Chiefs have done a very good job of really developing and drafting defensive players just throughout the draft. Like Joshua Williams, a cornerback, they got him in like the 4th or 5th round. Sneed's a 3rd or 4th round pick. Leo Chanel's a 3rd round pick. Nick Bolton's a 2nd round pick. Nick Bolton, all things considered, with the type of career he's had so far, he'd be a 1st round pick now, right? Easy. So it's about finding those guys that are just, Chris Jones was a 2nd round pick, right? So they have done a very good job of developing their defense over the last couple of years, and it's been an Achilles heel for them too. But this year they've really taken the next step, and a lot of these young guys, like your Trent McDuffie's, your George Karlaftis, these guys that came in last year, are so much better this year because it takes experience. You won a Super Bowl, right? Like, to win a Super Bowl your first year has got to be an incredible feeling, and also a lot of pressure too. So they felt those pressure moments. They were able to develop, get better, and so it's a great thing to see. Like, Casey's defense has kept them in 2 games. They barely lost week 1, right? And then their defense was huge in week 2. And that's not normally the case. It's the offense that's just going off. So once everything is on the same page and they're cooking on all cylinders, that's why, they're a presumptuous favorite. There, I said it. I know sometimes with my words, it gets a little crazy, but presumptuous, that's the last time I'm going to say it. Because I will screw up for a 3rd time for the Super Bowl, just because the way they're rolling right now. So, as the offense will get going. Whether they make a move, I have a buddy that I'm going to shout out, Dylan. If you need a car, go to AutoNation; he'll hook you up. St. Peters, Missouri. But he texts me all these times religiously about Evans and how. You Google Mike Evans to the Chief. It's all over Chiefs. It's all over Google. It's all over Twitter, this and that. Will it happen? I don't know. I don't know if some of these moves that were made, if that'll allow us to get Mike Evans, it would be great. But my point is, like, the offense will get to where it needs to be with Mike Evans or without Mike Evans. It would be better with him. We'll see what happens, but I'm happy with the team so far and what's going on. And I know all you guys love hearing about the Chiefs, the defending world champions, beating the Jaguars, beating a good team. And I'm just glad that we're rocking and rolling and got some confidence back, because it's tough to take an opening day loss, especially right after a Super Bowl, opening night, the whole world's watching, and you get beat in your own backyard. That's tough. It's not easy, but the Chiefs did a good job of rebounding, going to Jacksonville, playing against a tough team and getting the dub. And we're on to Chicago next week, which I have a good feeling about. And yeah, so I'm happy with the Chiefs' week 2 performance. And yeah, shout out Mahomes for getting 2 tutties and Nick Bolton being a stud again, and Chris Jones coming back and being like Stone Cold and just kicking butt. Brennan has left me again, so I'm just going to keep rambling about how great the Chiefs are. We don't know about Taylor Swift and Travis. We don't. But that's the level of man beautiful, right? The biggest pop star in the world wants to date Travis Kelce. So my obsession with him really isn't that weird, right? Because Taylor Swift is all about Kelce too. And the awesome mustache. So he'll get rocking and rolling. I expect a big game for him this coming week, and we just have to continue to progress and be great. And yeah, I'm happy to say that we got the dub, and the Chiefs are they're back. They're back. We never left, but we are 1,000% back. So I'm just gonna keep rambling. Hopefully, I'm not 1,000% sure if we're live right now. We are. I don't know if we're live on YouTube. We live on YouTube right now, Brendan?
No, Coach, not live on YouTube. Not a direct stream.
So not direct stream. Okay, so some of this might get edited out, but anyways, Brennan is super dad.
Fatherhood called to me.
He's got 2 little Chiefs fans that were just
not Chiefs fans.
Unfortunately, there you got 2 little Chiefs fans. He's got 2 little Chiefs fans at home. Yep. Uncle Coach.
They're Eagles
fans. They are Chiefs fans, and yeah. So, what did you think about the game? And because I know you're both your sons were extremely happy the Chiefs won.
Wrong. But
he's in. It's okay.
You did. So one of the points you did make that I want to touch on earlier, until my sons both required my attention, which hopefully they won't again for the rest of the show, is that you were saying how the defense not bails them out, because we know that the offense is having some struggles. The receivers clearly did not step up week 1 against the Lions. The defense did hold off what we think is a pretty strong Lions offense for the most part. Because as we said, they lost, but they didn't get blown out by any means like that. That's not even something anyone could really say in that game. That's something that the Raiders are lacking, is a complementary defense. And then, they were lacking both against the Bills. But the Chiefs, I think they just kind of needed that game to knock the rust off, assess what they're working with, and then move forward. And, right now they're tied for first in the AFC West with your boy, which isn't really saying much because the Broncos and the Chargers are poopy, which is my professional way to describe those 2 teams.
And I asked you this stat, we're speaking of those 2 teams. The Chargers have scored 58 points in 2 weeks, have 0 turnovers, and they're 0-2. So clearly defense matters. Their defense isn't stopping people. So if you have a decent defense, yeah.
I wouldn't say that either of them are that bad, but for all of Sean Payton's hype, and then Brandon Staley is getting very touchy about anyone bringing up that Jags game, which I think you and I are both fans of because that was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Chiefs obviously I think are trending up in the right direction. We'll go into the Bears and Chiefs game in a little bit. I don't think we'll have to discuss it that much, but I will be happy to share some Justin Fields stats when the time comes around. So we'll segue into the bad of the week. What was the total score, by the way? It was 19-17?
17-9.
17-9. Okay, so I was close. We did get one call from someone on our voicemail line. We actually got a few others that I won't play, but here's one which is supposed to be a question or a comment. We don't have to talk about it. I guess one is a comment, I guess.
Go Raiders!
I don't know if you guys hear that. She said go Raiders.
She said go Chiefs.
No, she didn't. Anyway, so the Raiders went to Buffalo, New York. I went to this game the last time the Raiders came this way in 2017. It was a great time. Also lost again, 10-38. Terrible. The opening drive was clean, crisp, besides Josh Jacobs getting knocked back by Greg Van Roten, our right guard, because of Ed Oliver. Besides that, marched down the field, Devontae Adams touchdown, his first at Jimmy G. Love to see it. Then after that, we get a field goal. It actually went 3-and-out on the Bills on their first drive. So I'm like, oh, things are looking good. Wrong. Those are the last points we scored for the entirety of the game. Shutout in the second half. Garoppolo goes 16 for 24, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. One was tipped. One was seemingly, it looked like it was picked out of Josh Jacobs' hands. Really, he just kind of got mossed by, I think that was Matt Milano, the linebacker. Jacobs had an abysmal day, -2 rushing yards on 9 carries. He did have 51 yards receiving with 5 receptions. Devontae led the receivers, 6 receptions, 84 yards, 1 touchdown. He was taken out of the game to be evaluated for concussion, ended up not being concussed, which is good for our Sunday night game coming up. But really just a rough day. Both of Jimmy's, 2 of his 3 interceptions have come on tip passes. So you're familiar with that. It's Mahomes' mom who hates that stat, right? That it counts as an interception.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he still shouldn't throw it in traffic. Randy, there you go. Mahomes shouldn't be throwing it into traffic. Neither should Jimmy G. But this is the issue. The defense really just looked lost. Tyree Wilson, has got to step up for Chandler Jones, who just continues to have his social media mental breakdown. Tyree Wilson with 1 tackle, 0 pressure.
Chandler Jones got hacked, dude. Just relax.
Yeah, he got hacked. That's why they were screenshots from his cell phone, right? Crosby had 4 pressures, obviously up there with tackles, but the team only had 2 sacks, and they both came from our linebackers, Divine Diablo and Spillane. Just a really rough game. Josh Allen really had his way with us. He did throw an interception, which was taken away by an illegal hands to the face with Nate Hobbs, but it had no effect on the play. He had hands to the face on somebody running up like a like a comeback route up the middle of the field. Like it had no effect on the interception. They called it, and the interception comes back, and that obviously pissed me off. But I mean, this is just one interception wasn't going to change the game, but you do need those momentum boosts.
And they completely stopped Josh Jacobs. So obviously the Raiders, with him being the rushing leader, was the rushing leader last year, or was it Chubb?
No, he was.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was a rushing leader. So when you stop the rushing leader,
-2 rushing yards. This is what gets me upset is if you're going to hold out, like Chris Jones had a sack Sunday, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I know I saw him pulling, but he was disruptive. If you're going to hold out when you come back, you held out because you're that good and you need that kind of money, right? And it's not all on Josh Jacobs, but if you're going to hold out, come back and play like we expect you to. Run blocking was not ideal, obviously. The right guard getting pushed into him, I believe it was the right guard, is not his fault. But he's not breaking tackles the way he normally does. The explosiveness, I'm not quite seeing it. He's not at Najee Harris level where he's just slow-mo across the field, but he doesn't look as dynamic as normal. He's got to get back into the swing of things quick because we're running out of time here. And I know it's week 3, but I don't care. 10-38 dismantling is not what we need, especially when
38-10. Say it the right way.
I think you're supposed to say it when you're coming from the perspective of the team that lost. You're supposed to say 10
no,
to
30.
It's
38-10, 10 to 30.
38 to 10, whatever.
38
to 10 makes it sound like the Raiders won, which we all know didn't happen. And then, like even Zamir White, like he kind of subbed in for Jacobs for a little bit and then had a fumble on a pretty good run. Just doesn't help anybody. Like the whole thing is it was a disaster. So kind of what we talked about with the complementary defense and offense, Jimmy G, you and I said this in the offseason. He's not going to elevate your team. He might maintain, but he's not going to be he's not going to be like a Lamar Jackson, a Pat Mahomes. Like he's not going to be able to one-man band and just take over the field.
He plays to the extent of how his teammates play. So if Devontae is going off or Jacobs is going off, then he's going to up his level to match that. But he's not the tone setter that you
100%.
Necessarily want from your quarterback. You get the job done, but I think that's something that maybe has hindered him. He's been around talented guys, whether he was in New England with Gronk or he was in San Francisco with Kittle, Debo, and those guys.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to be successful was like those guys were so high intensity and such high skill level that they upped his game. And obviously Devontae is that type of guy, but he needs some help, and he's not getting anything. I know I read something about how it was like a joke that Hunter Renfrow didn't get any looks on Sunday, right? I don't think he did.
I think he had 1 reception and he had 0 the week before. And there was one play where I think they're in cover 0 and he was wide open up the middle of the field, would have gone for a touchdown.
Yeah, for one of the best slot guys in the league, like how
Jimmy just didn't see him. And this was the time to get some touches because Jacoby Myers is out on concussion protocol. So he's not seeing also some players getting open, but part of that is also the pressure he's facing. I still like him better in the red zone than Derek Carr. I think he's a little more poised. He's not just booting out to left or right, depending on where the pressure's coming from. He's trying to stand tall in the pocket and deliver. it just didn't happen. It's just one of those things where you could tell, like once they start to spiral, the spiral goes and goes and goes. Like when the Raiders got shut out by the Saints of all teams last year. So terrible loss. I don't want to harp on it too much more. We will talk about the game the Raiders have coming up Monday, or Sunday night, excuse me. But it's one of those games where like everything needs to be fixed. There's only very small flashes of production, and there really wasn't much there. And you can bitch about calls and refs and whatnot, like the interception and Max Crosby being dragged across his neck. But it is what it is. Everyone
that doesn't make up 28 points.
Nope, it doesn't. Nope, it absolutely doesn't. You're right. So let's get into our week 3 predictions. So I stand at 14 correct from last week, Coach with 10. So I believe I have a 7-game lead now. You got to make it.
Yeah, pick your jersey out now.
I mean, we still have time, dude. We're going into week 3.
I've dug myself a hole.
I think you can get out of it. Somehow we ended up tied last year. Tied.
Miracles happen.
Yeah, but people should start listening to our bets because we're still going pretty high here. I mean, 10 out of 17 ain't bad. 14 out of 17 is pretty phenomenal. But here we go. So I'll let you lead. I'll be a gentleman. Thursday night football, Giants and 49ers. Who do you have?
49ers.
Done. Yeah. I think the Giants' comeback against the Cardinals was admirable, but that's just how deep of a hole they're putting themselves in, and digging out of that one is tough. So I'm going to go Niners as well. I think they're outclassed at every position.
Oh, 100%.
1 o'clock, Colts and Ravens. I'm going to go Ravens. We don't know if
I'm going to go Ravens as well.
Is going to play, but yes, Ravens it is. Next, you have Titans and Browns. They get a little more tricky.
Titans and Browns. I will take the Titans in this game. I think about to sneeze. Hold up.
Sneeze away, dog. Oh.
Shout out to
nice.
Yeah, good save. Sending our prayers obviously to Nick Chubb. Brutal injury.
Dude, oh my God.
Almost the exact same injury, same knee, 2015 in Georgia when he's at Georgia. He's a younger man then.
Gruesome.
But prayers to him. To not just necessarily play football again, just to be functional and be able to walk okay. But I think I'm very just unimpressed with Deshaun Watson. Titans, they have enough to get things done, and Vrabel's a great coach. I'm going to take the Titans.
I'm going to take Titans as well. Nick Chubb is the focal point of their offense. Deshaun Watson, I would say he's definitely looked better than Kenny Pickett last night, as far as just like arm strength, accuracy, making plays, but he also threw some dumb balls. I think
Ford will be serviceable and they'll pick someone else up, but yeah,
I think Kareem Hunt's already there visiting, which just makes sense. But
makes sense.
I'm still going to go Titans. Falcons and Lions. This one I struggled with. I think I'm going to go Falcons.
I'm going to take the Lions. I like what the Falcons have done so far. Bijan Robinson's been great. We got Drake, got London and Pitts a little bit more involved. But the Falcons are a good team. I just think the Lions are gonna rock and roll and the Seahawks game was a little bit of a fluke in their mind and just show what they're made of.
That's one of those ones I think really could go either way. But the Packers defense, I think, is definitely more deep than the Lions defense right now. And the Falcons, Desmond Ridder looked better passing than I expected. Made some plays with his feet too. So I'm going to go Falcons, but we'll see. You have Saints and Packers.
Saints and Packers. I reluctantly, I think I'm going to take the Saints in this game. Their defense is very good. And Carr does enough to get it done. And Chris Olave is just a stud. And Michael Thomas has been better. So I'm going to take the Saints.
All right. I think you may not know as much as I do, but the Raiders have had a real rough go with the Packers whenever we face them. I think I don't know if Derek Carr's ever beaten the Packers. I'd have to look into it again, but I don't think he ever has. And
brother would know.
Yeah, he might, but he's not here, is he? So I will take the Packers in this. I think the Saints defense is going to be pretty tough on Jordan Love, but if they get Aaron Jones back, could be a game changer right there. So I'll go Packers. But see, this is where I think you could one up me. Like say the Lions and the Saints.
Okay, I'll be down
right,
6.
Right there.
Yeah. 5. I can be down 5. Yeah.
5. Yeah. All right. I've got Jags and Texans. I'm going to go Jags.
Jags. We don't need to explain that.
No. You've got Broncos and Dolphins.
Dolphins.
I don't think you need to explain that. This is a close one. Vikings and Chargers. I'm going to go Vikings.
You're going to go Vikings. I'm going to reluctantly take the Chargers to be different. They've been in every game. They've been close. They've only lost by 3 points in both games, I believe.
I don't want you to be different. I want you to be a winner, Coach.
Yeah, I'm going to be a winner. So I'm going to take the Chargers. I believe in Justin Herbert and that team. I think this is make or break. If they give two, what's about Staley, they'll win this game.
Oh, that's a valid point. The thing that sticks in my mind was the Vikings defense really turned up with the Eagles the other night. I was impressed. Obviously,
it'll be a very good game, but I'll put it to you this way: this is a huge year for the Chargers. They're going to be like $40 million over the cap next year. I know we talked about cap's a joke, but they're going to have to cut a lot of high-priced guys. Just bottom line, no matter how magical the cap is. So they really need to get their shit together if they're going to do anything this year. Pardon my French.
No, I'm with you. But I'm just going to take the Vikings. That was my instinct. I'll run with it. You got another interesting one. Little AFC East matchup: Patriots and Jets.
Patriots and Jets. I'm going to take the Pats. I think the Pats have been pretty good the last 2 weeks. It's the first 0-2 start since like 2001, which is incredibly impressive. I think their defense is good. And I got much love for the MILF Hunter, the Mormon Mahomes, but sorry, Lisa. I gotta go Pats.
Did you say the Mormon Mahomes?
That's what his nickname was in college. Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting. All right. I'm gonna go Patriots as well. I think that Bill Belichick thrives off uncomfortable quarterbacks.
The Jets.
Yeah, and beating the Jets, obviously. So I'm gonna go Patriots as well. I also don't like that little tweet from Breece Hall about not getting enough touches. I don't like that kind of dissension in the building. It only breeds like bad behavior.
You should get more than 4 touches, though. I don't disagree with them.
You should, but my voice squeaked. Next, Bills and Commanders. Reluctantly, I'm going to take the Bills. I like Ron Rivera. I like what they're doing. I'm glad Chase Young is healthy. Loved him in college.
I'm going to take the Commanders. I'm going to take Airbnb and the Commanders.
Ooh, okay, spicy.
I could make it very close, or I could just totally shoot myself in the foot. This is how I like to roll.
We've got four difference of opinion already, and we're like halfway through.
So it could be 3, it could be 5. I'll meet in the middle with 5. I'll be okay with that.
Yeah, we'll see. Panthers and Seahawks.
Panthers and Seahawks.
Yeah, same here. I think Geno Smith's back into his rhythm. Shake off that week 1 rust. He's good to go. This one, no discussion, I would hope. Cowboys and Cardinals.
Cowboys, yeah.
They're going to do horrible things to Josh Dobbs. I'm sorry, dude. Micah Parsons is a minimal.
He saw what Bosa made. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna need an extra like 4 or 5 mil.
Who said that?
That's what he's saying right now.
Oh, then Bosa.
Parsons, yeah. Parsons.
I think he's the best. I think he's the best defensive player in the league right now. I think he's the best.
Even though JJ Watt said it's his own.
Oh, TJ's right behind him. But
it's very like a 1A, 1B thing. They're very close.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna give it, and I don't really like Parsons all that much. I don't like the Cowboys in general, but he's just amazing to watch.
Yeah.
All right. We'll save our 2 teams for last. You guys have the last 4:00 game. We have the 8:20 Sunday night game. Monday Night Football. Bucks and Eagles. Do we have to break that one?
Eagles. Props to Baker Mayfield for leading him to 2-0. I like his grit. I've always liked Baker Mayfield. That's been on here.
He's grown on me. Especially after they shafted him in Cleveland. I feel bad for him.
Yeah. So I think it will be closer than people think, but ultimately I think the Eagles obviously have more talent, so they're just going to end up getting the win.
It's going to be really hard to pick against them really at all this year. I think I need to see them take a loss, really see them.
Well, you know what? The Eagles did not play. The Eagles have not played good in either game this year. Once they haven't. Get it together.
I think they're missing. Why am I blanking on he's the Colts head coach now. I think they're missing him big time. Their offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And then Rams and Bengals. I know you want to see the Bengals go 0-3.
I would love to see the Bengals going. I think we got to kind of see. It's kind of a toss right now because we really don't know about Burrow. But I'd be very shocked if the Bengals go 0-3. I'll take the Bengals reluctantly. Be a close game.
I'm going to take the Bengals as well.
Rematch of the Super Bowl a couple years ago, but.
All right, and then so the last game, the last 4:00 slate, Bears and Chiefs.
Chiefs are going to get the win. Ryan Poles, former chief executive, is doing his best there. I appreciate them like putting faith into Justin Fields. Of course, I picked Justin Fields in my dynasty league. I picked him in another league because I really kind of had high hopes for him this year. He's not surrounded by a ton. Obviously, Chase Claypool was about to get cut because he just doesn't give a shit. I don't know if it's a coaching issue. I don't know what's going on there. But something's up, and it's not good, and he's just not progressing the way he should. I think he's got like 5 wins in 2 years or something like that. It's just not good.
They haven't won a game since October of 2022. That's the last time they won a game.
That's bad. So I will take the Chiefs. Excuse me. I think the Chiefs by like at least 10. I think it's gonna be like, I don't even know. I think this might be a game where they break out. I'm gonna go 35. I'm gonna go 30. Actually, I'm gonna go 38. 20. 38-20.
I think it's generous to give the Bears 20 points.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe 38 to 10. I don't know. 38 to 10. It could just make you guys feel Bears feel like the Raiders. But yeah, I don't know. I just am very confident the Chiefs will go into Soldier Field and get the win.
I do. I think sometimes you guys have weird games against bad teams, like when Drew Lock almost took that game against you guys.
Yeah, sometimes they're dialed in. You know, they're 1-1.
And it's so early in the season. The Bears, I'm seeing a lot of excuses being made for Justin Fields. I think I tagged you in one of his press conferences. He tried blaming Luke Getsy, his offensive coordinator, and his offensive coordinator is calling some bonehead offensive plays like back-to-back-to-back screens that just don't work, and he threw a pick in one of them. But he's also not reading the field right. He's slow in his reads. His mechanics are slow. He looks uncertain. Like, there's just a laundry list of things Justin Fields not doing right. He's going to have to figure it out because otherwise he could be looking elsewhere. He could start to jettison into the backup role for his future, like the Carson Wentz alley. But he's just not looking right. His QBR is 22.2, which ranks him 31st out of all the quarterbacks. He has 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 2 of those 3 interceptions are pick sixes. That's not good. So he is looking terrible. The Bears look terrible. They don't have playmakers on defense. Their offense is bad. They do have DJ Moore. If they had Pittsburgh Claypool, they may be okay, but they have TikTok Claypool, and it's not working out. I'm going Chiefs, if I didn't make that clear enough. Chiefs are taking it. And then Sunday Night Football. So I was listening to our boy Q, and we don't usually pitch other Raiders podcasts here, but he does Lockdown Raiders. Coach and I met up with him at the draft. That's how we got to meet Tyree Wilson. So kind of a bit of a figurehead for us. Q's just a good dude. Every year he picks a game kind of in memory of his son that passed away in 2020 in a car crash. I think it's Kamani is his first name. I hope I got that right. Coach said he almost picked the Bills game to be like his son's game because it's right around the anniversary of his passing. I think he's going to go with the Steelers-Raiders game, our first home game, to be his son's game, which is awesome. I initially thought Steelers. I'm going to ride with Q. The Raiders are going to fix things up for home, the energy, the atmosphere. Hopefully there's not a lot of yellow in there, just a lot of black. And I think the Raiders are going to take it, beat the Steelers, go 2-1. We beat the Steelers last time. I am obviously very concerned about TJ Watt on whichever side he lines up on. They don't have Cam Hayward. Minka Fitzpatrick may be hurt. We'll see what happens. Tyree Wilson and Malcolm Koonce need to step up on the defensive end, and Josh Jacobs has to get the ground game going. He has to. And Nick Chubb was doing pretty well against him at the time.
And Jerome Ford had some big yard plays there too. I'm gonna roll with the Raiders as well.
I did not expect that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I'm doing it in honor of Q's son. But I mean, not just that. I think they have a legit chance at winning. Like I'm really not. Kenny Pickett has just not been great this year so far, and they had high hopes for him. So we'll see what happens. But I will roll with the Raiders.
With the Raiders. All right, I appreciate that. So an exciting week. I'm down in Florida, so I'll be watching all the games down there at the end of the week. But Coach and I will be around, active on the social medias. Get your bets in. We're posting a lot of sweet pick'ems that Underdog is posting up. Like you see those half-yard rushes for over and under for like Anthony Richardson or Pat Mahomes. Like suck those up, make that money. We got a lot of people shouting out to us saying that they're making some financial return on their bets. So use promo code RTK at Underdog Fantasy and buy those sweet seats from SeatGeek. $20 off your first order with promo code RTK. And hit us up on SpeakPipe. Leave us a voicemail. preferably a question, could be a comment, could be whatever you want. Interact with us. You love us, we love you. Coach, anything for the people before we head out?
No, obviously hit those codes, save yourself some money on tickets, bet, have fun, make your daily fantasy teams. I enjoy doing that. That's what you can do here in Missouri. It's stupid, but we got to take what we can get. And just enjoy another good week of football. Go Chiefs and go Raiders.
You don't have to say go Raiders. I'm not offended.
Yeah, I'm not going to say let's go Raiders, but it stinks that we got to wait so long to play each other. But fingers crossed for my picks this week so I can get a little bit closer to Brendan. But yeah, just enjoy another great week of football, and we'll talk to you next week.
Exactly. And for that Raiders Chiefs game, we plan to do a full 4-hour live stream. We'll see if my wife and Coach's dogs allow it. So
yeah.
There we go. We'll see y'all next week.
Go Chiefs.